Hey everybody, welcome back to Sunset Wildlife Connections YouTube vlog channel. My name is Margaret and I run an exotic animal rescue and community outreach program. In today's video, we are going to be talking about winterizing our animal rescue. So we are in the panhandle of Florida. We are about 30 minutes north of Pensacola, Florida. We live in a weird little valley where in the summer it gets really hot because we're in this little dip, and then in the winter it also gets really cold. I'm gonna tell you guys today how I winterize and manage over 70 animals in the Florida winter. And some of you might be like, winter in Florida, whatever, but it does get really cold here. So right now it's probably about like 65, maybe 70 degrees. But tonight, actually like tomorrow morning, around 6 o'clock in the morning, it is going to be all the way down to 48. And then tomorrow night, that's my dog running. Tomorrow night is going to be in the 30s. So it does get cold here, and we do actually get freezing temperatures as well. You can see a lot of the trees and stuff have lost leaves behind me. This oak tree is going to drop probably around Christmas. It'll start dropping all of its leaves, and it will be bare until about April. So we do get a small winter here in Florida. No, we do not get snow, but we again will get those freezing temperatures. So let's go run around and I'm going to tell you what I do for each animal and each room of animals that I have. So starting with my sweet little goats over here. I actually have 3 goats. This here is Bo-Katan and Lucy. This one is Bo-Katan, this is Lucy. And they are both Nigerians, but Bo-Katan is actually a Nigerian cross. She is mixed with a Sayan. So that is a milk goat from Europe. This is Lucy. Hi girls. And I do have one more goat, but she is at my friend's house with a boar. So we are trying to get them pregnant. Not Lucy because she's only about 9 months. But the other goats we're trying to get pregnant. They're so cute. Look at them. What are you guys doing? You guys are so cute. They're distracting. But anyway, we want to have babies for spring, and then we also want to get goat's milk so that one, we can feed it to some of our animals, we can eat it, and then we can actually donate some to some wildlife rescues in the area, because goat's milk is great for baby animals, including things like squirrels, opossums, raccoons, a lot of those spring babies. So that is our plan with the goats. But again, we have 3. I have 2 on property now. So what I do is not much with the goats, actually, because we really do not get, like I said, into those freezing temperatures. What are you doing? So because we don't get into the freezing temperatures, I really don't have to do much. If it's real windy and really bad weather, I might put like a comforter or a blanket over this shelter right here. But otherwise, I really don't do much for the goats other than feed them. I feed them a lot. I feed them a bunch of hay. I'll also be feeding different things like lots of hay. I feed both Timothy and orchard hay. What are you doing? Bo-Katan, why is your tongue out? What are you doing? You guys are so weird. Put your tongue away. I literally just cannot with you. You're being ridiculous. Okay, next is our tortoise exhibit. And like I said, we get freezing temperatures. So I'm crossing my fingers that our hibiscus here makes it through the winter. If not, I will probably dig it up and plant a fresh one for spring, so that they have not only fresh flowers, but they also have fresh leaves. I've got to figure out something to keep them, poor things, alive. This is like the 3rd or 4th one that I've killed. What are you doing, Abigail? Are you a tortoise? You're so silly. Silly Abigail. So then this is Strudel. We have Crepe over there, and then actually Pancake is back further. But so I have 3 baby African tortoises, and African tortoises do need to be temperature regulated. So I do have a heat pad right here. Oops, sorry. I haven't been using it actually, just because I've actually just been bringing them inside. I just feel like they're a little bit too young to stay out here. If it's really bright and sunny and beautiful, I might turn one on. But at 55 degrees or under, I'm just bringing the tortoises inside. It's just not really worth it to me to keep them out. Maybe next year they'll be a little bit older and they'll have growth spurts over the spring and summer. And then maybe we can have them go and stay out here We'll put more of like a barn door. You can see I have this. So sometimes at night, I'll actually put them all into the shelter, and then I will close, I'll like take the sheet and I'll put the sheet over there so that they all kind of stay in there and they are blocked from any weather or wind or anything like that. But otherwise, around 55 degrees, I am just bringing them inside. But we do have that heat pad in case, like I said, it's really beautiful. I can let them outside and they can have the heater for both the sun and from both the sun and then from the pad. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And when we get to the reptile room, I'll show you just like a little baby temporary exhibit that I have. Abigail, what are you doing? That's my dog. But yeah. Oh, now all we can hear is you panting. I never actually did a video on our pigeons because it's not actually completely done yet. I do have the pigeons outside in a much bigger enclosure, but like obviously we like hate this. This is just up because we obviously want them to have some kind of a shelter. We're actually buying today, I'm buying a second one of these. And so then the whole thing will just be covered. And then we have plans in the back for like a feeding station, and we're going to free fly them. It's going to be kind of a whole thing. I am training one pigeon right now for a pageant, but anyway, I can show you guys that if you guys are interested and curious. I'm gonna put this little lock back on here. But for winter, pigeons are very hardy birds. Similar to chickens. I'll show you guys our chickens in a second, but they're pretty hardy, especially when I get a second one of these and maybe some better side walls. These guys will be pretty much set to go. They are, again, pretty hardy. You guys know pigeons live up north. They live in the cities. They are pretty hardy birds. The only thing right now that I'm doing, if it does drop below freezing temperatures, so if it drops into, 32 or below, I am just taking blankets and I'm just wrapping the entire thing in blankets just so that they do not get any of the wind chill. They do pretty good in the freezing temperature as long as they are not stuck in the wind and they have somewhere to be away from the wind. And that just doesn't cut it for all 7 pigeons that we have. So that, and then another thing that I do is I also up their diets. So they are on a training diet right now. They get loaded up and crated. And again, I'll show you guys all of this in some video, hopefully in the next month or so when we can get this enclosure completely finished. I'll show you guys kind of what I do for training and all of those things. But for now, Winterize, I up their diets just so that they are fat enough and they're nice and happy. You can tell they're nice and fluffy. If I had not fed them, all of them would be down here freaking out. But we've got little cyclops down here. Hi. But yeah, I also have plans to mulch this exhibit. So this exhibit isn't exactly done yet, but we're working on it. Hi, Chewy. What are you doing? You're so cute. Okay, next. So you guys can see that we have all of this plastic vinyl, and this is where the parrots are. So we're gonna go in here, and then this is where our 7 parrots live. We have 4 macaws right now, an Amazon, and 2 cockatoos. One of the cockatoos and one of the macaws are not ours. We're just watching them for a friend. But the rest of these 5 are our rescued parrots. So you guys can see that I did the vinyl all around. And then I also weigh the parrots. I do have a video of me weighing the parrots, which I'm going to do here in probably the next couple of days. I will probably go through and weigh each parrot. And then I also have individual heaters. So at 55, they're so loud. At 55 degrees, some of them have individual heaters. So you can see that is Stanley's. This one is actually Raz's. This one broke for some reason. And I bought a second one. And then that one broke. So I don't know what is up with this area, but that actual heater just needs to be taken down. That one doesn't work. But this one does, and that is for Margarita and Davy Jones. And then this is Deuce's. It's not on, but he loves this spot right here. But whenever it is on, he's like right under here, and it's cold. And then this one actually, let me fix this. So this one goes here, and then OJ will sit here if he's cold. Hi, buddy. And then Jody's has to be hung away from her. If you have it anywhere near her, she will chew it. So whenever she's cold, she just comes over here and moves underneath it. And then that is good. And then she's also pretty close to this heater too. So that also will radiate some heat. Deuce gets a little bit of this heater as well. So it does seem to keep the parrots perfect, honestly. It has been working amazingly. And another thing that I do, so again, we have the vinyl, the heaters, and then the last thing that I do is the same thing that I do with the pigeons, is I will actually up their diet. I'll up their protein, so things like nuts. I actually feed them egg once a week as well. I may do that twice a week if there's a freezing day, something like that. But otherwise, they've been doing pretty good, and they've been doing just fine. So that is how we maintenance our parrots over the winter. This is our mammal room, and I actually do not do much in here besides just turn their fan off. It's our prairie dogs. But I do not do much in this room otherwise. It's pretty hardy animals in here. We've got the 2 prairie dogs. We have the chinchilla in this enclosure. And then we have the sugar glider over here. She's out and about right now. But the rabbits are behind me, as well as the guinea pigs. So they're pretty good. Okay, next is the reptile room. I really don't do a ton in here besides one thing. So everybody has individual lights and heaters if they need them. And it does drop a little bit in temperature here. But the one thing that I do that is different is in the summer, I have the AC on to regulate the temperature in here. And then in the winter, I have the heater, which you can tell is on right now. Which I don't even know if it needs to be necessarily. But anyway, I have it set to 70, so it doesn't usually drop below 70 degrees in this room, although sometimes it does get probably like 70 something, maybe like 68. It will drop a little bit overnight, but that helps to regulate it and keep it nice and warm here. You can see I have this, which it's 82 degrees right now in this room, which is fine. That's about as high as I would want it to go, which I was like, I don't know why the heater's on, probably just timing or something like that. But yeah, that's all about all I do. This, obviously, we would need to change the water, but this is where I've been putting the tortoises if they can't be outside. So that's just temporary setup for the winter for the tortoises this year. But otherwise, I really don't do much else in this room. Okay, so chickens. I don't do a ton for my chickens either. They run at like 109 degrees. So for the most part, they do not need any heaters or anything because it just doesn't get cold enough here in Florida. You know, again, we do get into those freezing temperatures, but it just doesn't stay freezing for long enough. And it doesn't, you know, probably doesn't even get into like the single digits ever here in Florida that I have lived here at least. And in this location, it has gotten into the teens, but it has never really gone into those single digits or obviously no negatives either. So, and again, even if it did, it wouldn't be long enough to give them any kind of frostbite or anything like that. So I really don't do much for them. I do not even have lights on my chickens. I do give them a break from laying over the winter like they naturally would in the wild. So they stop laying from about November through about January, and then they'll start laying again as it starts to get brighter again with the daylight. So that is how I maintenance the chickens. Whenever they molt, I just let them regrow some of their feathers. Like this one is still kind of molting. You can see some of that regrowth in the feathers there. So I just let them focus on molting and regrowing their feathers, and I don't have them lay at all in the winter. Oh my goodness, a tiny little bitty baby Jack Jack. Come on, Jack Jack. Let's go. You gonna crawl up? Come on, I'll meet you on the other side. Oh, you are already there. You're so precious. Hello, little prince. So this is Jack. He's our Joffrey's cat. And Joffrey's cats are from South America. They go all the way from the Andes Mountains all the way down into the savannas of Argentina and all the way into like the southern tip of Brazil. So they live in all different climates, hot climates, cold climates. And I do a little bit for Jack here. So I do similar to what I do with the birds. I up the diets. And then, so I'll give him, I want to say like almost double what I did over the summer. There's literally a mosquito on my finger. Okay, sorry. It literally landed on my like fingertip. Like, how are you even gonna get into my thick skin? There's no way. I should just let it sit there. But anyways, I up his diet, like I said. And then I also give him a lot more fleeces and, you know, things to cuddle in. And anytime that I go in and I check, Jack has, I'll see if I can get a video of it. Hang on. Okay, so up here in this box, you can see that brown thing in there. That is like a cat bed that is fully enclosed. There's only one way to get in and out. And so that keeps him super weather protected. And if I shove a big fleece or warm weather blanket in there, it is like a sauna in there. If I didn't have something so well set up like that, I would probably give Jack Jack a heater. But because literally I've gone in there in the winter and I've put my hand in there and it is literally like an oven in there. So it stays so warm in there. You are precious little prince. But again, I don't really want to waste, you know, the energy and having, you know, I already have all those heaters on the macaws. So if I really felt like he needed it, if he was obviously cold, even if he started to shiver, I would definitely probably throw in a heater. And shivering is normal for animals. You're just going to look suck on my finger. You're so weird. But shivering is normal, like I was saying. But, you know, that's when you would just feed and fuel that shiver. You are so precious. I cannot get over you. Why are you so cute? Oh, big yawn. You're precious, Jack Jack. You are so freaking cute. I cannot handle you. Why are you so precious? You are so freaking cute. So that is how I maintenance my Joffrey's cat for the most part. Again, I do have an extra heat pad, and I would just drag a heat pad from his house up here. I'd probably put it through the back, drag it all the way around down here, and then all the way back up to the house. So that's what I would do if I really felt like Jack Jack needed it, but it truly just does not get cold enough. And he actually, honestly, he seems to love winter, if I'm being honest. It is his like absolute favorite time of year is winter. He is seriously just precious. But winter actually seems to be his like most favorite time of the year. Stop it. What is he doing? Look at his tongue. What is the animals in these tongues? What are you guys doing? All right, we're gonna get into some familiar animals that you guys have seen a ton. So we have Michael J and Miss Megan over here. Why do you look like that? MJ, what are you doing? MJ, what are you doing? Anyways, both of them are panting because it's, like I said, super warm, but then it's gonna be super cold. Okay, so foxes, similar. I'm feeding them a ton of food, and I'm also feeding them a ton of food because remember, they have just been introduced to each other fairly recently. So I do have them on a high protein dog food. I also have upped their food. Hi, baby. You're so precious. Hi. What you sniffing? You're so cute. Look at Megan back there too. She's so cute. But I've also upped their raw food intake, so they get raw chicken and raw fish, and I've also upped that intake. And then I also give them bigger, thicker blankets, so you can see a big one there. Tomorrow I will give them even thicker blankets because remember, it's going to be in the 30s in 2 days, so I will give them even thicker blankets at that point. And that's about all I do with the foxes, actually. So King is going to be similar to a lot of the birds that I talked about. He is a Eurasian eagle owl, though, so he is literally from Europe and Asia, where it is obviously super cold. And he lives near the shores, so he lives with high winds. He lives where it's super cold. So the biggest thing that I do for him to maintenance his weight is feed. I feed King an average of 2 chicks a day, and I will up it to 3 and sometimes 4 depending on his weight. So I do weigh him similar to what I do with the parrots. I will go through and weigh the animals, and again, similar to like the pigeons, I'll just up his diet. He is pretty hardy as far as cold weather. Last but not least is Spiky. Come here, Spike. I don't do much with him either. He's an African crested porcupine, and they are from Africa. It does get cold in Africa, whether you're close to the equator or not. It does get pretty cold, so they do burrow. Let me show you his burrow. I don't have the keys, so I can't actually go in, but his burrow is in there, and it goes about 2 feet deep. And when we get into the freezing temperatures, I do put a blanket down at the bottom and kind of line his house. And that is so that he does not have to touch the ice cold ground. He can then have something to kind of block him from that cold ground. And same thing, I'll up the diet if I think that he is losing weight or becoming more inactive or anything like that. But for the most part, he is pretty hardy as well. Yes, you are. You're very hardy. Yes, you are. So that is how I maintenance a lot of my animals over the winter. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned a little bit of something from the different animals that we house here. Sorry, I ran to the fence. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to help out our nonprofit exotic animal rescue, there are links in the description to donation links. There are links to our Amazon wish list if you want to buy something for the animals, as well as our merch store. This is from our merch store, nice little long sleeve that has Jack, our Joffrey's cat on it. And again, you can find all of that down below, as well as our Patreon and other links to other social medias. We're most active on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So you can find all those links down below. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you watching today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. You're very loud when I'm trying to talk. Yes, you're very loud. Oh, but you're so beautiful. Yeah, scream. You're so silly. Oh, perfect angel. You're just beautiful.